So in my last video, I was talking about yuppies, the sort of international laptop class, Vincenzo Latronico's book Perfection, this sort of Berlin-based critique of the yuppie experience. And in that video, I suggested a number of books that I thought a critique of the yuppie lifestyle better than that one. And I included Breakfast of Champions by Kurt Vonnegut. And I wondered, it had been some time, a few years since I've actually read Breakfast of Champions, and I kind of wondered, is this actually a good take? Am I completely off base? Is this a dumb take? That video turned out to be a magnet for criticism and critique, a hub of activity, and it got me thinking, am I completely off base? Am I wrong? I was still thinking, like, is that actually a good take? Is that a bad take to say that Breakfast of Champions is actually about yuppies, considering it was written in the 70s? So I went back and reread Breakfast of Champions, and upon further review, I was absolutely cooking with that take. 100%, I think Breakfast of Champions is a book about yuppies, and it's about sort of that at the end of upward mobility in America, all that you get on the other side is spiritual damage, a lack of humanity, just nothing but emotional emptiness, I guess. And this is 100%, I think, correct. Really cooking with that take. So it had been years since I read Breakfast of Champions, and what I remembered about Breakfast of Champions was that it's this book about Wayne Hoover, who's suddenly convinced by reading a book by Kilgore Trout. Wayne Hoover becomes convinced that he is the only person in the world capable of free will. Interspersed within the novel are Kurt Vonnegut's sort of critiques of American society, particularly the way American society treats its racial underclass and how America treats people around the world. And what I kind of remembered about the book is that, it's this kind of whimsical, funny book with a lot of drawings about a guy experiencing a mental breakdown. And just, peppered throughout are these critiques of American society. And from the last time I read it, I didn't really connect the two and kind of thought, this is a fun, whimsical book where he throws in a lot of his sort of social critiques. And upon reading it this time around, I think it's one of Vonnegut's best books, if not, it might actually be my personal favorite at this point. It's so unbelievably good. The main character of Breakfast of Champions, Wayne Hoover, he is this titan of industry. He is a small business tyrant in some Midwestern US town. And he's like one of the most financially successful guys. And he is just racked with misery and depression because he is unbelievably successful, and yet he's so sad. He's so depressed. His life is just spiritually empty, and he clearly has no vocabulary to describe why he's sad. He has attained everything that you're supposed to attain in the American dream, and he's so sad, and he doesn't know why. And he undergoes a mental breakdown, basically. And where I think the book is super interesting is with the character of Wayne Hubler, who is kind of like this African-American foil to Wayne Hoover. So Wayne Hoover is this white guy, titan of industry. Wayne Hubler is a black resident of Midland City who's gone to jail. He's economically depressed, and he kind of looks up to Wayne Hoover and wants to work for him. And these two characters just juxtaposed, I think, brilliantly illustrates how wealth works in America. And this, I feel like this is like pretty obvious shit, but I think the way it's explained in Vonnegut's book is so prescient, because I feel like this is something that we kind of just don't talk about enough, but someone like Wayne Hoover only exists because of Wayne Hubler. For example, in the 1970s, if you're this small business tyrant and you have a really successful used car shop, you are the richest guy in Midland City. You are only able to be the richest guy in Midland City and have this super wealthy lifestyle because of the people that are being oppressed, because of the people in Midland City that are exploited. America's wealthy class only exists because of the poor racial underclass that America creates too. Why are people wealthy? Because they have taken wealth from other people. Why are some countries more wealthy than other countries? Because they went to those other countries and took wealth from those countries. Something that I kept on thinking about when I was reading Breakfast of Champions was the times that I've visited Amsterdam, and both times I was struck at how unbelievably beautiful of a city it is. And each time I trick myself into thinking, wow, they have all this sort of weird cultural pride, and every time I visited Amsterdam, I think the same thing. Wow, you know, they ought to be proud of themselves because they've done a really good job. This is a beautiful city. It's so beautiful. It functions really, really well. They have this, on the surface, very egalitarian society. And then after about 5 minutes of thinking this, you remember the Netherlands or the Dutch pillaged the rest of the world for centuries so that they could become this extremely wealthy society. And even current day Netherlands is still completely reliant. Them sort of having this social democracy that provides a really, really high standard of living to the Dutch people only exists because of the subjugation of the global South that has continued. They have the head start from colonialism, and they maintain that sort of economic advantage because of the continued subjugation of the global South. That legacy wasn't just done away with. It has continued, and that's why the Netherlands is still wealthy. The Netherlands is wealthy because they took that wealth from other places. Wayne Hoover is wealthy because he's taken that wealth from other people, such as Wayne Hubler. And I think that's such an important point of distinction when talking about these things. Whether you are Wayne Hoover and you're a fantastically wealthy used car salesman in Midland City, or if you are a project manager at Google and you make $400,000 a year and you live in the San Francisco Bay Area, you complain about poor people, you complain about having to see homeless people or whatever. Those struggles exist specifically because of the jobs of project manager at Google that are paying, you know, nearly $500,000 a year or whatever. Like, these things don't just kind of like exist in a vacuum. They only exist because of each other. The sort of white collar, super high paying kind of make work jobs, the sort of like professional managerial class type jobs that pay so exorbitantly high for a very small amount of like kind of email work. These jobs exist specifically because of how many people are subjugated on such a mass scale in the United States and abroad. And this time reading Breakfast of Champions, it was made so unbelievably clear. And I feel really bad because I was hoping to kind of point to some specific passages in the text, but I actually lost my copy of Breakfast of Champions. I have no idea where it is, so I'm sorry about that. I'm just going off of memory, but yeah, read it. While I was editing this video, even though nothing that I said was wrong, I realized that I didn't really sum up my thoughts and forgot a few of the things that I really wanted to drive home. Like the Dutch and Amsterdam, the Dutch people exploited the entire rest of the world for hundreds of years and built Amsterdam. Amsterdam is a beautiful city, big fat asterisk. The US, what I think Vonnegut is really getting at in Breakfast of Champions as well is the US, like the Dutch, exploited the rest of the world for decades, and instead of creating Amsterdam asterisk, they created Midland City. And we have in the US created this decadent pig culture that's a little depraved and kind of gross and decadent and piggy. He's making sort of these overt critiques of America, and then also below the surface is really kind of getting at the core kind of gross piggishness of America. And I think it's about as sharp of a critique as you could make. Also, I think the character of Dwayne Hoover is so relevant because he's attained everything you want to in America, and he is so sad. The reason that Dwayne Hoover is sad is the same reason that you're sad. Person watching this video, especially if you're doing well for yourself maybe, or you live in a city, you make good money, whatever, but you're still sad. You're sad for the same reasons that Dwayne Hoover is sad. And maybe you're not sad, but maybe you feel like something's missing. You feel like something's missing, or I might feel like something's missing, whatever, for the same reason that Dwayne Hoover feels like something's missing. We're living in America, we're achieving the American dream. We've spent all of our lives kind of following this, what we're supposed to do in America, and we realize everything that we might achieve is at the expense of others. Everything that we might own and attain in American society is at the expense of someone else. It's so amazing. And let me know, am I cooking here? Is this making sense? Anybody who's read Breakfast of Champions, or if you read it because of this video, let me know what you think.